Don in London, hello. It's August 30th, 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. And the most available substance for most of us these days, well, I don't know, I really don't. What it used to be was alcohol for me. So, a recovering alcoholic, my behaviour, if it's substance, if it was the substance alcohol, the behaviour that went with it, workaholic, relationshipaholic, always trying to be the best I could be, trying to be perfect and never so, never resting on my laurels, always fearful that I might be found out. So what's the gift today? Well, I've got a life plan today. Yes, it's one day long, and I've decided coping strategies which I used to use and develop with other people and myself actually led to me coping beyond the pale, beyond the boundary line where maybe it was unsafe to be. And the trouble is, if we're completely stuck in a place where we don't know whether we're looking up or looking down, lying in the gutter, still judging the world as to blame for what has happened, we need to get out of it. And I tried many ways, and in the end there was only one way, and that was abstinence. But I didn't know how to stop. So what did I do? I went to Alcoholics Anonymous and hated it with such a passion, because it was going to change my attitude and behaviour to drinking. That is, to leave it alone on a daily basis, a life plan one day long. So what has it done for me? It's helped me understand my emotional, physical and spiritual condition. So emotionally, I'm working out how I feel each day. Physically, I keep an eye on what's good for me in terms of diet and following a regime for other conditions which I deal with. And then this spiritual thing, all my life I thought I was spiritual, and of course everybody is on the planet, but the quality of our spiritual life, that is to be able to deal with the truth of now, just being in the moment of now, and understanding what it means to be right now, right here, in this moment, is somewhat clouded if we're absolutely driven by substance requirements or behavioural requirements to make ourselves feel right. So for me today the answer simply is to stay sober one day at a time, with the help of a fellowship which makes the rest of my life possible. And that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and I don't speak for it. I speak about how it helps me develop my own experience, strength and hope to live as best I can, one day at a time. And that's not perfectly, because perfection is another ism, or perfectionism, if there is such a word. Where am I now? So, on a daily basis, I get my nourishment, if you like, for how to feel life in the best possible way, that is, as it is. Spiritually, to be in the moment of now, and as the Eastern philosophers always said, mind, body and breath in the moment of now, and then physically do the best I can with what I've got. So why AA? And, not speaking for it, and hating it when I first went there. Why did I keep on going back? And the simple answer was, I had nowhere else to go to start with. And secondly, when I looked at the people in there, some of whom turned out to be my neighbours, people I used to know at the health club. Don't go there anymore, it's too expensive. And my mother's best friend from years ago in the front row. So I couldn't escape, and there was very little anonymity around here, where I live. And people knew me to be in a pickle, and worse, they had to leave me alone to get to that moment of clarity. The clarity is, I cannot do this on my own. That was where I got to. And somehow I did manage to get in touch with the right medical person, who then helped me, under my own, against my better judgment, to go into detox for a couple of weeks, which just took the alcohol away, and then left me feeling absolutely beyond any description, unable to get a peaceful moment of any description. And then I was invited to go to a rehab, not on some exotic island, but more of an exotic location in London, called Kennington. And if you've ever been to Kennington, you know it's the nuts and bolts of a community which has been around for decades, and centuries actually, and it's very down to earth. And whereas other people's rehabs cost tens of thousands, mine cost tens of pounds. But it gave me an opportunity my only way to actually deal with rehab was to run away from it in the end. But along the way I got dry, and I actually got to places dry in terms of not drinking alcohol, and I got to places called meetings of AA. And whilst my experience of rehab was tormenting and awful, I did get respite every time I went to an AA meeting. So what did I do? I went to an AA meeting every day, or as often as I was allowed out to do so. So it became my next addiction, if you like. But I self-discharged from the rehab, became so enraged by life that I couldn't cope again, and ended up on the street. Now, that's not a good choice, and as the BBC was saying today about Scotland putting up the prices of booze to stop binge drinking, if someone's drink dependent, you can make it £1 million a bottle and they'll still try and find a way to get some, because that is all that is on our mind. Anyway, I'm sharing too far ahead maybe. Normally I do the AA preamble here, just so you've got an idea of what to expect if you go to meetings. And if you go to meetings, it's a good reminder, because it reminds us what is important on a daily basis. And it goes like this. This is the statement of intent. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Great statement, and you know, well, funnily enough, it works if we work at it. And when I went to AA, hating it, full of fear, putting on a brave face and saying I was all right as I was trembling and couldn't even put a cup of tea to my lips without shaking violently, something happened, and it was I started to listen and get an idea of what it was like not to drink on a daily basis, listening to the experience, strength and hope of other people. And when I can't get to meetings, I use daily reflections here to share a message. And for August 30th it says the only requirement. At one time, even every AA group had many membership rules. Everybody was scared witless that something or somebody would capsize the boat. The total list was a mile long, that is, of the rules of entry. If all those rules had been in effect everywhere, nobody could have possibly joined AA at all. And it goes on to say, I'm grateful that the third tradition only requires of me a desire to stop drinking. I have been breaking promises for years. In the fellowship I didn't have to make promises, I didn't have to concentrate. It only required my attending one meeting in a foggy condition to know I was home. It took me more than that, because I was really foggy. I didn't have to pledge undying love. Here strangers hugged me. It gets better, they said, and one day at a time you can do it. They were no longer strangers, but caring friends. I ask God to help me to reach out to people desiring sobriety, and to please keep me grateful. And you know what, I'm extraordinarily grateful pretty much every day now. And sharing a message of experience, strength and hope is the best that we can do to try and help newcomers, also be their sponsor or just be a part of helping them to find a way to be well, emotionally, spiritually and physically. And in this book, As Bill Sees It, page 194, The Obsession and the Answer, it says, the idea that somehow, someday, he will control and enjoy his drinking is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. And having almost done that on more than one occasion, I am gratified today to say I haven't had a drink today yet, but I do know that my emotional, spiritual and physical condition is based on continuous and progressive understanding of life as it is, and who I am on a daily basis without having to put in coping strategies. So when I say the Serenity Prayer to God or good conscience or whatever you understand or I understand, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is always just for today.